Today we will be showing you how to make this cupboard. Here we are making the main frame to our bathroom cabinet. And just using some regular nails to put together. I think it's 1-inch nails. And 1x6 boards. There, work all done. I measured out what her tallest shampoos or hairsprays or anything that she wants in there. Figure out what that is. Get a couple taller shelves and then some average ones. Make sure it's even on both sides. They're about. Here I'm using just free paneling that I grabbed out of the wood pile somebody was throwing out. I always get a lot of leftover pieces. Comes in handy for projects like this. I'm using 1.5-inch nails, making sure we get a lot of them in there to keep the cupboard here from flexing. Keep it nice and square. Didn't have a piece big enough to do the whole thing at once, so had to do a couple pieces, which is fine. It was off a little bit, so I had to draw a line where I need to hack that little piece off. Of course, the piece that I got for free was cut a little bit of an angle, so I had to line up my laser light on an angle to follow that line. I usually use the table saw, but this time of year everything's kind of packed away and you have to drag that out into the garage, and it takes a little bit more work, so I do the best I can with my chop saw. Just flip it over and start back in the same line where it ended. Get it close enough. It's going to be on the back anyways. Now that I got it cut to the right dimensions, I'm going to put my brad nails into this section. Pretty easy to do. And the next step is to put trim all the way around it, so you have some wood, a little bit wider section of wood to put your hinges on. So I usually do the long parts first and then do the top and bottom. And the next step is torching. It brings out the grain, and really nice for the ends of the boards too, where they come together. It hides a lot of that. So this process here is pretty fun because every piece of wood has a different grain, and sometimes you can't see it because it's so light until the heat, the fire reacts with the sap in the wood and the light wood, the dark wood, and it brings out a nice, beautiful grain. Next step is to use a scroll saw and cut out your pattern. We did a random pattern except for the state of Michigan. And then we put some masking tape, painter's tape, on the back side to keep the two-part epoxy from going all over. And then we just peel that off. You can use parchment paper. We're finding that it looks like that's going to work even better yet. So for now, we just laid it on the parchment paper. If any came outside that, it came right out. This is the reason why we want to use parchment paper, I think, next time, is this process takes a little bit. Here we're just putting some pretty rocks in, just randomly throwing them in. And as I was doing that, I was imagining the state of Michigan, Petoskey stones, since we have quite a few Petoskey stones, little ones. So I figured we'll set the state of Michigan apart from the rest of them. And even though there's some Petoskey stones in randomly in those other spots too, but and then I'm gonna mix up two-part epoxy and do some pouring here in a minute. Alright, mix it really good, otherwise you'll have parts of it like gel. It will never harden up, and then you gotta scrape it out and redo it if you don't follow the instructions. And I just poured as much as I could to seat everything in, and you have to go back over with the brush like usual to get everything nice and covered up. And you never know how much to mix, so you just guess. If you don't make enough, you just hurry up and make another batch right away, or you can wait until the next day and pour some more. I'm using a torch instead of a hair dryer because my extension cord was somewhere else, so couldn't reach over there for my project, which is fine. And then I'm just using 1-inch nails. I don't want to go through the original board on the back side. Yeah, make sure the panels all stay together good. And we already stained this part of the process and 2 braces, and we're doing the second coat of 2-part epoxy over everything and make it nice and shiny. Alright, next process is putting some hinges on. We decided to go with 4 hinges versus 2 since we have a lot of weight of the rocks, and it looks pretty good with 4. And then we have some LED lights in the background. I decided to go with that for like a night light in the bathroom. So we are hanging this up with drywall screws. Make sure you get plenty in there. And if you like our projects, please subscribe to Wood Burning and More, and like our page on Facebook.